Hi, it's Matt Olsen with Boston Private. I want to talk to you today about choosing a bank. So there are some primary considerations that come into place when you're looking for a bank to work with. There's a lot of banks out there, of course. There's large national or international banks. There's regional banks. There are community banks. You have private savings and loans type of institutions along with credit unions. So you have a lot of choices to think about when you're looking at trying to pick a bank for your business. One of the most important considerations that comes into play is where are you in relation to your business? Are you in a certain city? Do you occupy more than one location? Are you in a regional area? Are you national? Those are all really, really important considerations to take into account to determine what institution would be the best for you to work with. If you're doing business nationally, then having a national institution like one of the large banks might be a great idea, because if you need to go into a regional bank or a branch someplace, it's going to be a very easy thing for you to do, because the national banks are generally in most major cities, or they have small operations sometimes in supermarkets or in other retail centers where you can go in and deposit checks or get cash. So that's an important thing to think about. If you're an international business, then having a bank that has international capability, like some of the biggest ones like Citibank or Wells or B of A, of course, those are some of the largest banks in the country. Those can help because they have international capabilities in most of the other major cities throughout the world. So if you're doing foreign exchange, you're collecting payments through a variety of sources in a bunch of different types of currencies, might be an important thing to work with a large bank or a national or international bank that has those capabilities. The other question is, where do you have clients? Where are your clients located? Where do you do business? How do you process the payments from your clients? Do you collect cash? Do you collect checks? Do you do things electronically? So that can also determine how you connect up to a bank. A lot of banks, especially the small regionals or even some of the small community banks, really don't handle cash anymore. The problem with cash is you have to count it twice, basically, no matter what bank or institution you work for. And obviously there's risk whenever you handle cash. So most of the smaller banks especially, and even some of the large ones, don't really like handling cash-based businesses. It usually involves transporting the cash via armored car, which of course adds cost to the entire thing. But it's also due largely to the security, obviously, dealing with cash. If you're handling checks, most banks can accommodate you now. They use a scanning or an image type system that actually makes an image of the checks, and virtually every bank is now processing checks based on the image and not the actual paper itself. So pretty much any bank can accommodate that through what's called remote deposit capture, which is a hardware scanner that sits on your desk and actually scans the checks and images them, or mobile banking, mobile deposit, which most banks have now as well, where you just take a picture of the check and then you transmit the picture of the check to the bank for processing. Then the other ideas might be utilizing wires or automated clearinghouse or ACH payments. Again, now most banks can handle those kinds of transactions. Some of them do it very seamlessly. Others will require you to access the ACH or wire capabilities online. Sometimes there's additional charges for that. Really depends on how the bank is set up and how they transact business with their clients. But you want to look at those options and see what the costs are. Obviously, some banks will figure out a way to make it so you don't actually pay hard charges for it. They'll use the balances you have in your account to offset those kinds of costs. Really depends on how the bank is structured for that. And then the last consideration really is, are there other services that the banks can supply to you that will make it competitive for them to take your business? Do they offer lines of credit? Do they offer commercial loans perhaps on a building? Do they offer small business administration loans or microloans? Those are important to startups and new businesses as well. So that might be an important consideration when it comes to choosing a bank. Hope that's been helpful for you. This is Matt with Boston Private, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.